Welcome back to Kavanaugh's Corner. Today on the channel I have a very, very exciting review for you here. This is an all-new release, going to be coming out November 19th from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment in affiliation with MGM. Make sure we throw that in there. And that is the all-new 4K Blu-ray of The Terminator. This guy here is... this is really probably the most anticipated release of the year, next to Twister for me on 4K. Ironically enough, they're both Warner Brothers movies, but this here is a film that I think has kind of become like important. Like, this is an important movie now. Years ago, this was just another blockbuster, genre-defining sci-fi action film. But now, stuff in this movie has actually kind of become real, and especially with AI and robots and things like that, we're getting kind of close to this movie actually being real now. But this is the 40th anniversary of this film, and it's crazy to think that this movie came out 40 years ago, but it did, and I can't tell you how much this means to me to have this on 4K. And also, I want to give a big thank you to Warner Brothers Home Entertainment for sending this to me. This is the first film that Warner Brothers has sent to me, and I can't tell you how much that means to me to have a relationship with any film studio, but one as important as Warner Brothers is absolutely huge to me. As someone who's not a big YouTube channel, it's very, very important to me to have relationships with the studios, and the fact that I received that from them is just absolutely massive. I'm not being paid monetarily in any way by Warner Brothers, so just so you know, it does not change my opinion of the transfer. They did send this to me for free and in advance, so big thank you to Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. I almost cried a little, honestly, when I opened up the package and saw Arnold staring back at me. It was a really good day. So anyway, today on the channel I'm going to be talking about the audio quality, the picture quality on this disc, and the special features that are included, because there are a couple special features. But first and foremost, I want to talk about this cover art, because it's got a little slip cover here, and it does come with a digital code, which is very nice that they included that. But I really kind of like this cover. The Steelbook cover is really cool, too. I'll throw a picture in there of that. But I love this disc. See this disc? That is a really cool 4K disc. This is really, really cool. So to jump right into the picture quality here, the Terminator was restored from the original 35mm film negative. And with any James Cameron release... there is a little bit of skepticism that comes with a 4K release from James Cameron. I personally absolutely hated the transfer for the sequel to this film, Terminator 2. It is one of the worst transfers I have ever seen on 4K. It is a travesty and a mess. But Titanic was outstanding. And The Abyss, I thought, was actually pretty good. I liked the transfer for The Abyss, and I liked the transfer for Aliens, even though it had a few hiccups here and there. I did like the transfer for Aliens. True Lies, however, was not the greatest. True Lies, I mean, looked really spiffy, but you can definitely tell they used way too much digital noise reduction throughout the film, and a lot of detail was lost on that 4K. Did it still look okay? It looked good, but it definitely had a lot of DNR issues, and the AI that they used for that transfer really just overdid it a little bit on that one, or by a lot, actually, in certain scenes. So I was a little worried about this new 4K of the Terminator, and I'm very happy to say that my worries were quickly done away with once I popped this bad boy in. This is an absolutely phenomenal transfer of this film, and quite possibly the best transfer from James Cameron that we've gotten in quite a while. The Terminator here has always been a pretty gritty, dark film. It's a lot of the movie takes place at night, and I will say that they did an amazing job with the transfer of this. There is noticeable film grain throughout the picture. DNR was used, but it was done very, very well. Grain is throughout the film, from beginning to end. DNR is used very, very lightly just to mitigate the grain. It really reminded me of what was done with Predator on 4K, only just punched up just a little bit more. And watching the film on my my LG OLED, man, I gotta say, nighttime scenes now, which is most of the film, look absolutely stunning. The black levels on this disc are incredible. Detail level is super, super high throughout. I actually noticed some things for the first time in this 4K version of the film that I had never noticed before. Kyle Reese has a gnarly wound on his hand after the Tech Noir shootout, and I never really noticed that. There's almost a medium shot of him in the car, and you can see that wound it's pretty gross looking now. So little detail levels like that. Arnold's makeup after he burns his eyebrows off, you can kind of see where it ends now. They blended it in pretty well, but 4K leaves nothing to the imagination. So little things like that. Some of the physical effects of Arnold working on his face arguably never really looked quite right, but now you can really see how noticeable that robotic kind of upper torso is. It's very, very noticeable. The film is in Dolby Vision, and I will say the Dolby Vision in this provides so much. Every color in this movie is accentuated. I noticed right from the beginning, the streets of Los Angeles now, every single light that you see on the street has a different hue to it. The street lights are one color. The light of a phone booth is a completely different color. It really stands out now. As a whole, this movie looked immaculate. The cleanup job that was done in this movie compared to previous Blu-rays is outstanding. Like I said, having that film grain throughout really, really helps this movie. It kept that feeling, that gritty feeling, but the movie now looks so much nicer, so much brighter, and in a good way. The daytime scenes look stunningly bright now, but not in a way that's artificial. Everything is done just right with this transfer, and I could not be happier with it. There are quite a few explosions in this film. The flames, the orange and yellows, and the bright whites of the explosions, the future war sequences look incredible. The blue hue of those skull-scattered battlefields, everything is just, it's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful looking. So my hat goes off to the team that worked on the transfer of this. Supposedly it was the same people that did The Abyss and Aliens and all those. So they really nailed it for this one. I will say, if you were not a fan of those, you are probably going to love this one. Now, as for the audio quality on here, there are 2 audio tracks that come with the main feature film here. One of them is an all-new Dolby Atmos mix, and the other is the original theatrical audio. The original theatrical audio is just a simple DTS HD master audio stereo mix, but man, did both of these audio tracks blow me away, I have to say. Now, I watched most of the movie with that Dolby Atmos track, And even though I'm not a fan of some of the redone gunshot sound effects, the overall sound of the film has been massively improved with that audio track. Brad Fiddel's score, especially, that electronic synthesizer driving percussion beat score, is just so amazing in Dolby Atmos. Overhead effects of helicopters sound amazing. The bass of this thing is booming. And I will say, with all the car chases and car crashes and gunfire, the bass on this is a killer. But the movie really shines when the action takes place. As I mentioned, certain car chases in the film are just so accentuated now because the gunshots and car crashes, all the skidding tires, everything just envelops you. And it is a truly atmospheric audio track. I mean, there is no other way to surmise it. It is so involving. It's so immersive. And that audio track is a knockout. I absolutely love it. Of course, if you're a purist, that original theatrical audio mix is also pretty solid. It doesn't have nearly the amount of range, but if you like that original audio, it finally has been restored and it sounds great. I will say about the original audio, though, the gunshot sound effects are much harder hitting in that version. I don't know what it is with the redone sound effects, but they just don't have the same kind of punch as the original theatrical mix, especially Arnold's 45 long slide, the AMT hardballer he has in that movie. It just sounds so much better in the original theatrical mix. But overall, I have no complaints about that Dolby Atmos mix. I wish they could have used those other sound effects, but I see why they remixed it, and it is a knockout mix. Highly recommended. It's just, it's a 1 in a million kind of experience. Listen to that, especially if you have a really good home theater audio setup. Now, in terms of special features, sadly, there aren't any new special features to talk about. There is really just 3 featurettes. There is one about the visual effects of the film, a featurette about the legacy of the film called Unstoppable Force, and another featurette called The Terminator, Closer to the Real Thing. Now, the visual effects one I think is really great, and the legacy of the Terminator one I think is pretty solid. But the Closer to the Real Thing is comparing what happens in the Terminator to current day technology. The problem is all 3 of these featurettes were filmed about 20 years ago, and they some of them have not aged well. The one that's about the legacy of the Terminator still works pretty well, but the other 2, especially the one comparing current technology, watching it today, it was kind of laughable. Because now we actually do have like drones and fully automated like robots and AI technology and stuff like that. So it's kind of a dated little piece, but it's cute to watch. And there's also deleted scenes on the 4K disc as well, 7 of them in total, including the deleted scenes with commentary by James Cameron. So that's kind of cool if you want to watch those. But as I mentioned, they've all been on previous releases of this on Blu-ray. But in conclusion, the 4K of the Terminator here is absolutely a must-own, especially it being the 40th anniversary of this film. I couldn't have hoped for better, honestly. The picture quality is a 10 out of 10. The audio on this is just absolutely second to none. One of the best Dolby Atmos tracks I've heard this year or possibly ever. And the special features are nice to have, but I kind of wish they had done maybe like a 40th anniversary special little featurette or documentary or something, but, you know, I'm glad we got what we got on here. It's better than nothing. And it also does come with a digital code, so you get a digital copy of the movie with it. But yeah, I loved it. And it being one of the first 4K movies that I've watched on the new home theater setup, boy, what an experience that was. That was just, oh man, this is definitely a workout for your home theater. So pick up the Terminator on 4K. I'll leave a link in the description below that goes to Amazon. Definitely use that link if you're going to buy the movie, because it helps me out here on the channel. And if you enjoyed this review, make sure to subscribe and like the video if you liked it. It means a lot to me if you do those things. So thank you so much for coming back to Kavanaugh's Corner. I wish you guys all the very best. Please stay safe and take it easy.